continue with a few more proofs today. We're going to start working a little bit more towards some geometry that's involved and merging it with the algebra, and then we'll get on to some more geometry ones later this week. All right, so let's do these few problems here. Given AB is congruent to CD, then they give you expressions to represent AB and expressions to represent CD. And then they want us to find that x is equal to 4. All right, so what we're going to have to do here is, we see that these two are congruent. We're going to have to change it to where they're equal to each other so that we can substitute these expressions in for AB and the expressions in for CD. Because you cannot substitute in the congruence mode, you have to be in the equality mode. And so, what allows us to go from congruence to equality? Remember? What allows us to, we know two things are congruent, we can say that they're equal. What allows us to go back and forth between those two? Definition of congruent segments. Okay, that's what allows it. And if it was angles, you would use angles. Okay, and so that's what allows us to go from a congruent statement to an equality statement, and vice versa. So we're going to start with our given. AB is congruent to CD. AB equals 2x minus 5, and CD equals 4x minus 13. That's given. Okay, so like I said, I want to take this congruent statement and I want to change it into an equality statement. And what did I say allows us to do that? Statements, yes. Definition of congruent statements. So once I change this congruent statement into an equality statement, I can now go into the other part of the given, and I can replace AB with what it's equal to, and replace CD with what it's equal to. What's it called when you replace something with what it's equal to? Substitution. So I'm going to replace AB with 2x minus 5, and I'm going to replace CD with 4x minus 13. And that is substitution. So then what do you think I should do first now to solve for x? Remove it? How do I remove it? Subtract. Okay, so move 4x over, subtract 4x from both sides. So that's negative 2x minus 5 equals negative 13. And we went to subtract. Okay, what should we do next? Add the 5 to both sides. So that's negative 2x equals negative 8. And that would be addition. And then what am I going to do? Divide. So I get x equals 4, and that is division. Now remember, after this substitution step, you could have solved yours just a little bit differently than I did, and that's okay. Just make sure that when you're done, it's x equals 4, not 4 equals x. Sometimes, people like to solve and x ends up on the right side. What allows you to flip-flop places? The symmetric problem. Okay. All right, let's do another one. All right, so this one it says, if FGJ is congruent to JGK, and JGK is congruent to JGK, then x is equal to 6. The statement following the word is your given. Your then is what you're trying to prove. Okay? Now, they also give you a little bit more information here. It gives you the value of FGJ and of KGH. So let's go to our picture and let's mark up everything that they give us. It says that FGJ is congruent to JGK. Then it says that JGK is congruent to KGH. And I want to prove that x is 6. Now it also tells me that FGJ is 6x plus 7, and JGK is 8x minus 5. Alright? Well, if FGJ is congruent to JGK, and JGK is congruent to, JGK is congruent to KGH, what can I say? What does that tell me? Huh? Eventually, yes. You're right. Okay, yes, that is going to be true. But I have to state that those two angles are congruent first. Okay? So what allows me, if I know that this is congruent to that, this is congruent to that, what allows me to state these two are congruent to each other? The transitive property. Good. Okay? So I'm going to state that those two are congruent by the transitive property. Okay? Then I can change this to an equality statement, and then I can substitute, like you said. You're right. Ultimately, that's what we end up with, but we got to follow a couple steps. Okay? All right. So we'll start out with our given. Angle FGJ is congruent to angle JGK. Angle JGK is congruent to angle KGH. Measure of FGJ equals 6x plus 7, and the measure of angle KGH equals 8x minus 5. And that's good. Yes, you do. Now, I will tell you that on some of your assignments, they'll just write this in. I'm not going to make you write that as the given. Okay? So, but this was written in the given, so if it's written in the given, then you probably need to go ahead and write it down. Alright, so we said that we could then state that FGJ was congruent to KGH. And what was my reason for that? Transitive. So angle FGJ is congruent to angle KGH, and that is transitive. Okay? And so we're wanting to be able to set 6x plus 7 equal to 8x minus 5, but I can't do it when my angles are stated congruent to each other. I need to change it to what? To equals. So I can change this, the measure of angle FGJ equals the measure of angle KGH. And what's my reason for going from congruence to equality? Definition of congruent angles in this case. Same idea, right? One of them, the one we did previously was segments, this one's angles. And even if you just put definition of congruence, I'm fine with that, okay? All right, so now that I have these two angles stated equal to each other, I can now substitute, okay? I can now replace FGJ with 6x plus 7, and then I can replace KGH with 8x minus 5. And again, we said that was substitution. And so now it's an equation. We all know how to solve equations, right? So what are we going to do? What should we do first here? You want to move the 7 first? Okay. 6x equals 8x minus 12. And that is subtraction. Okay, now what am I going to do? Move the 8x. So that's negative 2x equals negative 12. Again, that is subtraction. Okay, and so then what's the last thing I'm going to do here? 2 or negative 2? Divide by negative 2. And that gives me x equals 6, which what I was trying to prove. Any questions on what I did there? Okay, we got one more. You guys do this in science sometimes with different formulas. At least I think you do. At some point in time in your science career, I think you will. You are given the formula for Celsius. We want to change it to be the formula for Fahrenheit. Okay? So it's basically solving for x. It's really all that it is. Okay? Alright, so we have Celsius equals 5/9 times the quantity F minus 32. And that's given. Okay, I want to get F by itself. You can do a couple of things here. Okay? You could distribute, yes? Or you could multiply both sides by 9/5. Could you do that? That would get rid of the 5/9, right? Okay, and that's going to make your life way easier than if you had to distribute the 5/9, okay? So, let's multiply both sides by 9/5, right? And if we do that, my 9's cancel and my 5's cancel here, and so I end up with 9/5 C equals F minus 32. And that would be multiplication. Okay, so now we're trying to solve for Fahrenheit. What are we going to do next? We want to get F by itself. F minus 32. So to get F by itself, you would add 32. So then it would be 9/5 C plus 32 equals F. And that would be addition. Now I'm almost there. What do I need to do next? Oh, the C is not going to go anywhere. Yeah, we just need to switch it, don't we? We can just switch it. What's it called when we switch it? Symmetric. Okay. So F equals 9/5 C plus 32, and that is. Now, could I have distributed in 5/9? Yes, you would have had several more steps in your problem, and that's fine, okay? That's fine if you're more comfortable with that. But you can always get rid of this fraction by multiplying by its reciprocal, but remember, whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. And since the 5/9 is already outside of the parentheses, you don't have to worry about, distributing once you cancel it out. All right, so we have a worksheet today.